So Cameron, I mean, you using both TranzAct's, TMS, so kind of on the technology side, and you're also leveraging their managed services. So let's start with the TMS and the technology side first. I mean, what were some of the key features or capabilities that you were looking for in a solution?
Yeah, there were four key features we needed. The first was, we don't look just at cost or service. We kind of look at a matrix of the two. So we have, for every lane that we ship, we have a ranking based with all of our carriers. So we needed a waterfall tendering process that would take that into account. So that was the key feature for us. Some of the others were, we wanted a self-invoicing process so that we could easily pay our carriers. A dock scheduling process, and we needed a lot of visibility. So we wanted a reporting mechanism that could give us any of the data that we needed.
Well, there was a lot of things there. So I think I want to kind of dive into some of those things there. So starting with visibility, because that's something that I think is top of mind and top of the list for a lot of shippers. When they talk about a TMS, they want visibility. What type of visibility are you getting, and kind of what value is it bringing to you?
Sure. The TranzAct team's been able to provide pretty much any data we wanted at any interval that we wanted it. But a few examples. So in the food industry, we look at cost per pound. So for every lane, we have a cost per pound, a cost per mile. And so they're able to tell us what those metrics are that we're hitting, and we can compare that to our standards. A few other reports that we look at pretty regularly. Carrier on-time performance to our customers, since we're heavily scorecarded in the food industry. We also get a lot of reports on accessorials, so detention and what are those consignees that might be causing a lot of detention for us. So those are some examples that we look at. The benefits, our finance guys are always trying to get information about how we're performing to budget and what they need to accrue for this month and plan on spending next month. So we use those reports to answer those questions, and also to sit down and meet with carriers and provide data to either our carriers and or our customers.
Yeah, no, that's great. Certainly on the reporting side, you hit on some of the key metrics I think that a lot of shippers look at, particularly in your industry. And it sounds like really it serves as a vehicle, to help drive continuous improvement, right? Yeah,
we can pull that data and look at the last quarter, the last month, or, like I said, we're always looking at it compared to budget.
Great. So Mike, I mean, are you seeing growing demand for visibility and business intelligence from, the companies you work with?
Absolutely. And I think part of that is being fueled by some of the demands that retailers are putting on companies like an Idahoan. For example, Walmart and Target made news when they tightened up their delivery program. One of the things that we just posted in our LinkedIn leadership forum was a question that somebody was asking about the Walmart, what formerly used to be known as the Must Arrive by Date program. Now Walmart has their On Time in Full program. And what they've done is tighten up the windows associated with when that truck can deliver product. So before we used to have a 2-day window, that period has been shortened. And there are some really key factors that are driving this demand for visibility, because it can have a direct impact on your cost of serving that customer. So, Cameron could, talk about, for example, the whole chargeback issue. One of the gentlemen that Cameron worked with, Mark Pataska, we used to always kid and say that chargebacks were, in essence, a profit center for retailers. Well, one of the things we're finding out, for example, with the Walmart program, is that the carriers have a very tight window. If a carrier gets there 2 to 3 hours before that window is open, that carrier has to sit, which is why some of the customers that we see are getting pushback from some of their carriers about deliveries into a Walmart, for example. Now, Walmart's a great company and they have a great way of doing business, but it puts pressure and demands on their suppliers. And so one of the ways we get involved in helping companies with the visibility is to provide them with information about when the truck actually showed up, what happened when the truck got there, what's happening with the truck while the goods are in transit. And I think, Adrian, as we go forward, we're going to continue to see a lot more focus and emphasis on that visibility. I mean, there are things that are happening today that we see happening down in the future where you can track boxes within the pallet type thing. And so the demand for that, I think, is going to only get greater as companies like Idahoan have customers that, are basically putting increased requirements on them. And so, it used to be you could just show up within a certain period, everything was cool. Today, it's a lot different.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think one of the things that we talked about in the previous episode as well was kind of the move toward, predictive analytics, right? And having that advanced visibility, because the margin for error and the cost of driving blind is certainly increasing, year after year, as you just talked about there.